since we're on the topic of discrimination, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it here on my TikTok as well as my YouTube channel. I would love to talk to anybody that comes from TikTok about their experiences that they've dealt with at jobs, um, whether it might have been a service that was supposed to be provided, whatever the synopsis may be. I want to talk about it. I also want to talk about the 10th chapter that we need to read um, in White Fragility. This book has changed my life. So Ben Shapiro, anybody out there that's going to downplay this manual to abate racism from a doctor, Dr. Robin DiAngelo, I would like to say, if you think that this is a manual, cult manual, Ben Shapiro said that, I want to say it's because it's trying to abate your agenda, okay, which is to continue on perpetuating white supremacy and white solidarity in this country. If you think that African Americans have it easy today because we are allowed a few through to be successful, like the Carters or the, the West, um, you know, that's crazy. There's a lot of people in this country, including white people, actually, that are struggling every day. Classism is a problem still in this country. Discrimination is still a problem in this country. And the mere fact is, in the last chapter that we read here in White Fragility, is the mere fact that people won't even take feedback. They won't even take people's experiences for what they're worth. They, want to sit there and say, well, it's not about a race thing. They want you to forget about the past, about the Jim Crow law, about the Black Code, about all the laws and regulations that were meant to oppress people of color. I mean, this isn't something that people are making up here. There were laws in place to discriminate and oppress Black people. 246 years of slavery, 100 years of the Jim Crow law. And you don't think that there were going to be some effects to that? Okay, 1994 crime bill, mass incarceration, and then people have the nerve to talk about the missing father. Oh, I've been doing the homework. Okay, obviously, as a real estate agent, I've seen the discrimination, but no one will take my experience for face value from where I'm sitting. So therefore, I might as well go up to the mountaintops and explain to everyone that what Black people are still enduring today is still racism. Okay, institutional power is dominated by one race, and you don't think there's going to be some discrepancies? Come on. So with that said, I'm going to bring on our community friends here. Looks like I have no eyelashes. I'm sorry. I'm going to bring on our community friends here, and we're going to talk about it, okay? Because it's something that needs to be, confronted. Corporate America. Hello, Amy. All right. So let me give the code to the ones who want to come. Being silent is complicit. Okay, please write this down. 793-4437-0899. I'm going to repeat it one more time, and I'll say it slow. The meeting ID is 793-4437-0899. The meeting passcode is this. I'm going to repeat it twice because I am recording this. If you don't want to be recorded, please just don't show your face, but I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel. And please know, if you're under 18, that this is recorded. I'd rather you not show your face if you're under 18. Okay, if you're over 18, feel free. The meeting passcode is 3, lowercase j, capital W, 9, lowercase I, capital C. Again, the meeting passcode slowly is the number 3, lowercase j as in junk, capital W as in woman, the number 9, lowercase I like igloo, and capital C like CEO. All right, so we got people coming. That's great. Come right on in. One by one, come. So happy to have anybody who is willing to share their stories. Look at that. Hello. Hello. Hi. It's okay. I'm just gonna turn off. 1 second, okay? Just turning off the mic, and you can turn it back on. Okay. So basically, again, in this segment here on my YouTube channel, I'm going to discuss about, people's experiences. If anybody wants to share, what they've been through as far as, being treated, unfairly. It's really therapeutic to hear other people's stories. I just expressed mine. I got a little emotional because it hurts to be discriminated against, especially when you can't prove it, especially when it's over the phone. Right. So especially when you feel like you're being targeted and you know what's going on, and you can't make these things up. When you're being treated unfairly. But what I've learned from my friends here, especially from our friend Matrix, is that, oh, thank you so much for that. What I want to say is what makes you a strong person is not giving up, not giving in, and allowing yourself to learn from every situation, obstacle that you've gone through. And I'm talking to myself too, because I'm going to watch this before I go to bed on my own YouTube channel. I'm going to go back. And, it's good to document this. That's why I love talking to you guys on YouTube, because, when I do become successful, which I will, I get to look back and say, wow, I really allowed people to get to me, but I never let them win. You don't let them win. You don't get to quit. Oh, thank you. Aloha. Aloha no ko'oi. Somebody said aloha to me. That just makes my day, because if you're from Hawaii like me, you know how much that means. The aloha spirit just means everything to me. The meeting ID. Okay. The meeting ID is, 1 second. Let me get it. Invite. Okay, the meeting ID is 793-4437-0899. Okay, if you need the passcode, let me know. I don't know why I can't get my face to do speaker view. It really does that all the time. I really need like a technical person. Anyway, don't ever let the enemy win. The enemy is any person who doesn't see your value and worth. With that said, hopefully after people come here from TikTok and everyone shares their experience, and, we can all walk away from here thinking like, we are all survivors, and like we have a friend here, her name is Jennifer Love. She's a white woman. And she heard my story today, because I have been honest that I felt discriminated against today. And like I said, you can't prove it, but she said, I'm white, but I've been discriminated against. And I thought, not like me at first, but then I thought, how good is that for me to sit there and not, no, I will never do that. Of course, white people get discriminated against. Have you said, can white people get discriminated against? Of course they can. That's ridiculous that you think that somebody can't be discriminated against because they're not black. Because what? So of course, poor treatment can be distributed anyway, and I'm going to be the next Oprah. I don't care. So we're going to talk about it. Oprah talks about her experiences in her life, and what a therapeutic way to get through things. Hi, Bruce.
Hey. Okay.
How was your day?
So far, so good. It was pretty good. It's up and down. I was supposed to go home Saturday, but it looks like I may have to stay a couple more days. And like I said, I've been gone since early January. So, and I just hate being gone from home for just a long time, but it's just part of it. And I feel your pain because I think you're an awesome real estate agent. And it's difficult. People will, beat you up, but you just have to continue, it's like Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. So just continue to just brush it off like, oh, okay. And just think of now, like you're selling properties and it's getting ready to happen, and, and it's just, it's your season. you know, and just like living
I hope so. But you know what? Can I ask you this? Because like I said, it is very therapeutic talking to you, Bruce. Is why do we always got to go high though? Why do we always got to take the high road?
it, it 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 I think it almost has to do with like faith, because I mean, we could just be like horrible. We could just be, well, you do this to me. It's sort of like, when your child's little, you teach them how to fight back, and you just, you want them to be, you just got to take the high moral road. It's just tough because it's easier just to do the wrong thing, and but you just have to. It's hard, and that's part of faith too. Faith
Yeah.
faith will make you do. You'll want to just cuss somebody out, but you'll just like, no, no, no. It's tough, and I know that's hard for you. I know it's hard for you.
Um, it's when I am being verbally, when I know that I'm being discriminated against or attacked in any certain way, um, I feel like they want to trigger you. It's very much popular thing that happens in politics when they go, "Oh, she's triggered," or "You're reactional," or something like that. But it's like, but you said this, and that, and that doesn't matter. It only matters when I pop off. Now we got a freaking problem. But I've been a punching bag for you for the past hour when you're depleting me as a person, taking down my business. But now when I say something, now there's a freaking problem.
Mm.
I wish that we had in society a way to hold people accountable so that we didn't have to be triggered.
True.
Like I wish I could be like, oh yeah, is that what we're gonna do? Okay, so I'm gonna file this report or do this, and we do. But even then, we are scared that our reputation is gonna be,
Tarnish. Yeah, I understand.
damaged. It's all about the reputation.
As far as like being discriminated against, it's like, okay, like I would say probably 4 years ago, there was some guys that left my company and they went to another company, but they only wanted the people, well, let's just say the people of non-color to go with them. And it was
But
just
why? But can you explain why you thought that? See, even me, I'm like, well, why did you think that? Because you knew it, didn't you?
well, I mean, you could just look and tell all the white guys went, and no person of color. They didn't ask any of the people of color, to come with them. And now all of a sudden, 4 years later, I'm getting, a lot of these guys have left, and it's a lot of turnover. And I'm getting like, hey, I want you to come work for us. Just send us your resume. And ultimately, like I say, we were talking. I have another job that that's the one I want, but these guys are like willing to give me more money. It's not about money. If it were about money, but I can't mess up. I can't work with messy people, messiness. I can't be around messiness,
Right.
you
I
know,
mean, and that's why I wanted to be a realtor. Can I just say that I wanted to work
yeah,
for myself? As in my 20s, I did that. I did the whole, working for the man and giving my all. I read the book, Who Moved My Cheese? That book saved my life. I'm really open to reading it again with you guys if you guys want after we finally finish White Fragility. But working for myself has been wonderful. Has it been harder to make a nice full blown out $30,000 a year salary? Absolutely, it's been very very tough. But the mere fact that I bring home my own check, that's amazing. But the mere fact is, even though I work for myself as an independent contractor, I'm still under an umbrella. So you still got to kind of go by their rules, and they know it. So it sucks. So it's like I don't work for anybody, but they can critique you and they can treat you like an employee, but they don't pay you. It's really jacked up, if you ask me.
sure. That's tough. I can only imagine, like you were talking about the house that needs a whole lot of repair and
Oh
all
yeah,
of
$100,000 worth of repairs, and it's my fault that her client didn't want to freaking fix a doorknob. Nothing.
that.
They weren't going to do anything. Market value. And even the agent told me that she didn't even think that the house was worth the price that they wanted it for. They weren't even in the country.
Wow.
They just wanted someone to buy it because the market is good.
Yeah.
All they had to do is just, I mean, I would have fixed it. I would have got a contractor and I would have freaking tried to figure out how to fix it if I could. If you're going to get almost a $300,000 check, they could have got a contractor in there, who wanted to do mucho trabajo and freaking got it done.
Yeah.
And we would have had a deal. We would have closed quick too. But they didn't want to do anything. All my fault though, because my client wanted to back out.
Is it too late? Is this ship sailed? I mean, is it something that
If they worked the deal, I mean, before there used to be a negotiation, there used to be counter offers, things like that. But ever since the COVID-19, for some reason, people that are selling their homes, they're not really doing counter offers. They don't feel they need to. It's a good market. It's a seller's market. They can do what they want. So, usually it would have worked like this. I sent them a very extensive list of all the things that need to be done. I mean, there was asbestos, mildew, mold. These are hazards.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. That's very unhealthy. You buy a house in a 300,000 range, the least you can do is walk in there and not freaking get sick.
Sure.
Right? So what they should have done was just look at the list and see what they could do and try to, if they couldn't do it, at least give her credit back for the stuff that they didn't want to do. So, maybe give her like a, $5,000 credit or something like that, which is nothing to $300,000, right? It's
Exactly.
Piece of cake. Here's a $5,000 credit, or maybe, something. Do something. They didn't want to do anything.
That's true. My brother was in a situation where he was trying to buy a house, and the DC area houses are just going. And this lady, she had a house and she had a like a cracked fireplace or something. And this lady and my brother, fortunately, he had enough sense encourage all the people that you sell houses to always get a home inspector. That money is worth it. I mean, if you don't have money for a home inspector, you don't have money for a home. And he did a home inspection, and then they found out that fireplace was leaking. The lady knew because I'm sure other people had done home inspections, but she thought that she could sell it because
Right.
want to buy a house so bad, and that folded the deal. He didn't buy the house, although he should have bought the house, because if he'd bought the house, I mean, the houses in DC, especially 15 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago, so much money to be made. I mean,
Yeah. And it's back good. The market is
yeah.
really good. People, this is a great time to sell.
But I don't think that the market is I think that like a lot of people are in their houses or staying in their houses because that you can't evict anybody yet. But I think when that eviction, come June, July, and they start evicting people, people start losing their
Well,
property.
that's
And
going to happen. I mean,
yeah,
it's going to be sad.
I think,
I'm a person that actually cares. So,
oh yeah,
they call and they tell me their stories, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of people. It's just about money. You know what I mean?
that's it.
That's
It's all
it.
about money.
And you know what? Even though the government said you don't have to pay your rent, guess what? You did.
You do.
Yeah, you do.
Exactly.
There's an agreement that you have to uphold. Now, what the government did was make it so that you didn't get kicked out. But if you didn't save your money, you weren't responsible. Now what?
That's right. Or even
You know?
partial payment. If I had a house and somebody was just paying something, you know, and they were a tenant, I would I would work with them. I would like, okay,
Yeah.
but people
But
don't need
also, I would like to add. Well, Damon said, "Do you know the homeless people can vote in Michigan?" Well, can I ask you why? Why wouldn't they be able to vote? Just because they're homeless, that's kind of crazy. I hope they can vote so they can get people in there to help them get more benefits. But what I want to say is, to move somebody in as far as a rental goes, as far as a house on the market, do you know what you need in the
That's it.
place that I live in Connecticut, in my market? I can't speak for all over Connecticut. I haven't rented houses to all over Connecticut, but I can say almost every transaction that I've ever encountered even ones that didn't even go through, they want you to have a perfect credit. They want you to have, at least 630 fair or good. Then you need, most of the time now, a deposit isn't enough. They want you to have 2 security deposits. So most of the times, Connecticut is expensive. My clients, they need at least $5,000 to $6,000 just to rent someone's house. And that money's supposed to go in escrow. But Okay.
Wow.
And then, so, you're getting 3 times the rent, 5 to 6 thousand up front. Then you got somebody in there paying your mortgage and probably getting an ROI if it's paid off. And if it's not paid off, trust me, you're getting a few hundreds. Trust me. You know, and then this whole idea that people want to treat the tenants as if they're, like they don't trust them, like that thing on TikTok. This chick was like, don't meet your tenant, don't take cash, don't meet them in a parking lot.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of tenants are you allowing in your house where you are afraid to meet them in certain places? Like, you don't know your tenants.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's why I like property management, because it's like, if you don't know what you're doing, as far as customer service goes, because it is a customer service business, then just like a property management, I mean, it's like really cheap. I mean, they take, I think, like a few, I think it's like 3% or something over the whole year. We don't get paid that much.
Right. That's a very
As opposed to what the investor, and if you rent out your house, you are an investor. You're not a homeowner. You are somebody that's collecting a check. Hello, hi. But not to get off the topic, can you explain, since you're my only, does anybody else want to come to the Zoom? My very loyal friend, my brother now, I would like to say, is here talking to me on YouTube. Hey, Josh, do you want to come by? I want to know, Bruce, a situation that you felt like you were being discriminated against.
Yeah, often as a communication technician, because that's like a predominantly white field. um, I can go, somewhere or whatever, and my qualifications will come up. Like they'll say, "Well, where did you go to college? Where did you get your training?" And I was like, "Well, um, I was in the army." I don't tell them I retired from the army, because then they're like, "Well, how old are you?" Just the questions that I don't think other technicians would have to go through. But I think, a lot of times you be the technician of color, they're like, well, we're, and you can just feel discriminated against, where, or even when you're like a project lead, they're still going to the junior guy on the team. And the junior guys coming to you saying, hey, well, you got to ask him, but they're not used to, dealing with people of color,
Power or oh, thank you, that Gen Z kid. You're the best producer helper ever. Thank you. You said capitalism is the best. Here we go. Um, I just hate that. I know that I can take it. I know that I was a baby earlier. I know that I can cry, but I know that I get up and for some reason there's something in me that just keeps on going. But I feel really, really bad for people that don't have that type of ability to get knocked down and get up. And I mean, if I can feel hit like this, I can imagine what it feels like, especially if you're young, you just started your career and you feel like no matter what you do, nothing's ever going to be good enough, because there are things that you can't prove, which is discrimination. You can't prove it. How can you prove that you're being treated unfairly, because they don't tell you that, oh, they don't bring up the color, but
you know, you know,
that it's a huge reason you feel the way that you do or whatnot.
you got
That's why I really like that part in the book that we read, Richmond, when when the black guy said that the biggest thing that would be revolutionary would be the feedback, just to accept our feedback, and they don't. I tried today. I tried to say, I know that's what that person said, but can you hear my side of the story? And
yeah.
it, like, as
I,
soon as I tried to say my side of the story, and it was almost like I was defending myself, then it became attack on my career and attack on my ability and knowledge, and it was horrible.
when you said feedback, it made me think of a time that when I was in the army, and I was I had to do this ceremony. It was like a change of command. I mean, it's very, very prestigious. It's a real big thing. And usually somebody that does it, they're a lot more senior. I mean, it's a very, very senior thing. And so somehow I was doing that. And it was another trip that came up that I wanted to do. Um, and here I am, I'm trying to reason with this guy, And this guy is basically, no, you're going to do what I told you to do because remember, you're in the military. And I'm like, he didn't even want to hear, no feedback from me. Hey, I can do this, I can do both. He didn't want to hear that. He's just like, okay, this is the way it's going to be. And that's what I don't like about the military, and then I can kind of see where,
And then they say, right, because I used to be, I'm a military brat, and I used to be an ROTC. I only went past PFC because I just had a blast in high school. But they say you're insubordination if you.
sure, that's right. And the military or just different things don't lend themselves to a lot of questions, and that's the problem, with a lot of young people nowadays in the new, corporate world that we live in. A lot of the young people that come in, they have lots and lots of questions. They don't do things just because you told them to do it. That doesn't work. The
Right,
mom and dad, no, they want to know, hey, well, why are we doing it like that? Well, we always did it like that. Well, it doesn't really make sense. So
right. Um, the real okay, YOVZ is asking me, um, capitalism questions, but I already know where we're headed with that. But I obviously I love talking about society and the theories. But we're really talking about discrimination. But why not? I think we have a little room for capitalism, right?
sure.
You said capitalism is the best. Please tell me what is better than it. Well, I'm an extreme utopic person. I'm a utopian. Okay, I've done my research on theories, and I realize I'm a utopian. I believe in, an extreme version of socialism. And I will never not think that way. I believe that everything that we have, Luke 9:58, Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens, and the birds have nests, but God says, but man has no place to lay his head." And I made a song about it too, called "Say Amen." Uh,
Sure.
to me, this whole ideology that I have to pay where I live, yet no other animal has to do that. That's crap. That's bull crap. And the checks and balances for what? Is this ocean? Does it not have enough fish? Are there not enough animals here on this earth? Can I not slaughter my own cow? Can I not farm my own stuff? Why do I need your stuff? Why do I need government? You want to talk about, well, the government and the welfare? Well, what do I need? Why can't I just go out there and plot? And
I
this
think
this society already existed, okay, where we just lived where we wanted to live, okay, and there's other ways to do it. If you had something that I wanted and I had something of value, we would barter or
right,
trade,
right.
or we,
I I think when we lived in an agrarian, basically the horse and buggy society, I think we had like better neighbors. Like if I killed a cow, I would share with my neighbors, and when he killed a pig, he would share, and then somebody would, it's the the back and forth. The richest people in the world have so much that if resources were like handed down. I'm not saying that like, okay, hey, Bill Gates has to give his money away, but he has an obligation. He made a whole lot of money, to take that money and to put it into medical programs, because nobody should, no child should be dying of different childhood diseases that we can cure. And it just shows up on our society. Greed. People say, well, capitalism. When you have a society and it's all about money, then look at what you have. Look, you don't have much of a
and then
society.
they think like the guy Bezos, Jeff Bezos, who just stepped down. He's still with Amazon, but he stepped down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think he's a chairman or something like that, or whatever. But he's worth billions of dollars. Like the COVID-19
Sure.
even hit his business, but yet he charges what not charges. He pays like $17 an hour. I think probably tops. That's not enough money. Granted, he probably has like tons of obviously he has lots of employees, but
Yeah. But I wouldn't mind, somebody like Jeff, paying like that if he would, on the other hand, set up things like people that are getting out of prison, set up, training programs, or set up other, in the other area, so that people have like opportunity. like say what they call welfare to work, like a lot of moms, set up daycare. Like you have your Amazon business and all that, but set it up so that you have daycare so that like
Yeah.
single moms can
Right.
come
Like nobody
and
minds
work.
working. Well, the problem is just like that book, which I want to read. I want to read so much this year.
Yeah,
I just turned 35. I just want to be a bookworm now.
yeah.
The rich dad, poor dad ideology, and I've heard conservatives say, well, why do other cultures come here, like other not cultures but races come here? I'm sorry, like the Chinese and stuff, and or the Indian, and they come here and they become successful. And why aren't Black people successful? And we've been here. Well, you have to understand where a lot of their money comes from the black dollar, and then
Sure.
also they really have a high focus on education. And unfortunately, most of our education is public, right? And it's it has lack of funds. Okay, so if I ever was able to make an influence in the community, I definitely would. Like you said, a great idea. Listen, we don't mind working, but we need some more daycare programs. I heard about. Did you hear
That's
about
right.
that lady? I think she went to jail or something. Because she
Left them two kids at
or
home.
something,
Yeah,
or in
yeah,
the car. And it's not just
yeah.
mothers; it's dads too. There's some
But
single fathers out there that can't afford daycare, and that's
but
ridiculous.
but I'm this way. I'm like, okay, I'm big about church and I'm big about community. If you're say I go to church at mm, Lomax, and then it's a couple sisters at Lomax that maybe they're retired. Hey, can you watch my child? You see, I'm trying to get started. I don't have any daycare and I don't have any funds. I tell you what, you drop them over my house. It's a safe place. They can, that's what I mean. Community helping each other out. You talk about some of the other races, how they're able to come to the United States and within 15 years or a generation, they're wealthy. As African Americans, we don't, our schools suck. And if the
Yeah.
schools suck because they're
You know what?
financed
As an
property.
agent, I'm going to tell you this: there are stigmas with a lot of schools with Black people. I'm telling you, I'm not making this up. Okay, I got my license. I practice. I'm on the road. I see it. I hear it. So how do you, even if the schools did have proper education, the stigmas keeps the ideology that if your kid goes there, your kid is not good. How do you get rid of these stigmas, man?
Well, well,
And you know who does it? Everybody around the school.
sure. Well,
Or not actually not everybody around the school, everybody outside the school in those other good school system areas.
I was listening to your daughter give you some advice earlier, and you could tell she's headed on the right direction because the thinking and then hey giving advice and you listening to her. And one of the problems that we have is so much our schools, the property taxes fund schools, and so we have like really really high crime schools. We gotta, it's something that the community has to take care of. We've got to come together, and like these kids getting behind because they're working online and all that. It's got to be somebody around here that can help them with their math or with their English or
And that's the
reading.
thing. We're living in a society where people can't get help because then it's just like ridiculous that, these huge 1% corporations, these top elites can ask for bailouts, can ask for loans, but we can't even get child education. So our
That's
friend
right.
Jen here said that, I don't know, I think derogatory, she doesn't want us to say daycare. I wouldn't say, she said it's derogatory. I wouldn't say it's that extreme, just because I have kids and they all went through it. And I think in the pamphlet it said childcare, daycare. But what I will say moving forward, I don't want to insult anyone in the childcare field. So she would prefer that we use early learning center, or
Okay.
they educate the child. They don't just daycare. And I can understand where you're coming from because a lot of
Right. Right.
take care of my kid, little daycare. But there is a lot. There's there's an learning. What is it called? A syllabus. A syllabus. How do you say that word? Syllabus.
Syllabus.
How do you say that, Bruce? You know what I'm talking
Syllabus. Syllabus.
Yeah. There's, learning. So learning care center. Is that better sense?
And
I get it. Like,
that
I'm just like,
that's a generational thing because like when I grew up, they just called it, you know, daycare, and that's how like I knew, but I understand, and I agree, the early learning center and the total involvement where it's not just like if you ever go to maybe I'll just use the word daycare in a certain place. What do the kids learn? Well, they learn how to dance, they learn how to do this, as opposed to like an academic environment. Like well, we're sitting around, we're learning this, we're learning that, and stuff like that. So that is really, really important. I have a niece, and my niece is she's brilliant. And I'm not saying that because she's my niece, but she is my niece. But no, she's brilliant, and it all started with her early education, and her
right.
daughter is just as brilliant
Oh,
because
yeah, it matters. The early education matters. My son is in preschool. His grandfather, his great grandfather, passed away and gave him a gift uh, for Catholic school to start. It's expensive. I haven't paid for it. He inherited it, but he can already read, write. He loves math, and he's only 4.
it makes a
Okay,
difference.
so what I would like to say is that you know uh, my son's living a very white experience, to tell you the truth. But as an African American woman, I'm like, wow, if I could have a mic on a level where more people listen to me and actually think that I'm credible, I would love to have, schools that have, I would love to investigate before I figure out what schools that win the lottery, but I'd make sure that every African American school would have like a private school type of atmosphere academically. How do you get rid of these stigmas, right? I would say uniforms. I don't care what anybody says.
Exactly.
There are
Exactly.
people that can't afford to keep up with the keep up.
That's all right.
And I think uniforms teach you how to get acclimated or assimilated into society. When you get a job and they make you wear a uniform that you don't want to wear. You have to do that.
And
So
parental
uniforms.
involvement.
Yeah,
and,
go
and
ahead.
parental involvement. That what makes a school really good is like when parents are like involved, when they have a good PTA, and they're just not just the kid is going there, but the parents are active in PTA and good schools. That's what you notice, like you notice the
Parental involvement.
involvement of the
Now,
parents.
Bruce, I don't mean to cut you off because this is such an enticing conversation, and I
Yeah.
wish you could show your face, but it,
Oh,
you
oh
know,
my! I would show my face, but my data rate is so low, it's just not letting
oh,
me.
okay, next time. What I want to say is parental involvement. But what do you do when the parent can't be involved? I think African American schools, or just schools that have lots more, just say stigmas. I don't even like saying urban or anything and adding these labels on it. But we know where those stigma schools are. But having more social workers on site, right? Having more than one teacher in a class of many, so that they get the attention that they need, and paying the teachers what they deserve, especially if they're doing double the work because of the lack of care that's been given to these schools. You know, Counselors. How many teachers have you had that you couldn't tell your parents something, and you tell them, and it changed your life? I can tell you a few times.
Exactly, like a good guidance counselor,
Yeah.
that
But you
uh,
need more than one. Like, there was
yeah.
always that one that everybody would complain to. You need like a few of them. Or
and
why not
and
have interns that are, still passionate about it? Um, to,
and then I was somebody was having me think about from preschool all the way up to seventh or eighth grade, how many black teachers did I have? Like black male teachers that I had? Very, very few, very few. And teachers make a difference, especially, like males, because there's no father in my home. So, a lot of times, the roles that teachers, take on and say, hey, yeah, you can. When you get ready to quit and give up, and then you have that really good teacher that says, no, you're not gonna quit,
yeah,
you know.
that was
So
you guys for me. I don't need a teacher. I have a community. But
yeah,
yeah,
you got a community.
you need that. I even think, even in the adult world, all these companies that don't have real leaders that are able to give you the leadership skills that you need. in order to keep pushing. It's like you wanted to tear people down, and I can't imagine these teachers that hate their job every day and are influencing these kids. They're not passionate about it. They're just throwing them the packets, and it's just really unfortunate, man.
It is for the kids.
What did TJ
Yeah.
said? TJ said, okay, "Oh, I'm sorry. I just now noticed that was a question. I'm good, thank you. I just don't like to speak a lot in Zooms, but I'm good. Thanks for asking." Okay, I asked him. I said, "Are you okay?" Because we have another friend that's here. He's been listening. That's fine. But our friend here on TikTok, Jen, said K through 12 public schools could certainly learn from how preschools and Head Starts operate. Every profession we appreciate and or idolize all had teachers. Exactly. And I had a teacher that actually ended up suing the school for discrimination. That was the initial topic. And he used to cry in class. It was history class. I walked out of that class. It was the first time I saw Amistad. I grew up in
Oh
Hawaii.
yeah, yeah. I
I was the
saw
only
that.
black girl in my whole school. I think there's a, well, not think, I know there's a girl. I'm actually still friends with her. She's half Japanese, but I was the full black person, only one in my whole school. And me and my teacher, in watching Amistad, he didn't really prepare me for that movie.
Yeah.
And but he used to tell me, he had a conversation with me, and he said, they're treating me very bad here in this school. Yes, Hawaii has its own thing, trust me. It is America, it's the 50th state of America. And he actually was on the news. I graduated, Mr. Rashad, in Hawaii. He won like $1 million something dollars. He's the
Wow.
Department of Education. So when you hold people accountable, there are rewards. But
But something I also gotta say too. One of the problems too, conversely, is that like okay, when you have like a bad teacher, we gotta be able to get rid of bad teachers. So
yeah.
that like good teachers can stay. So that's just something I thought I'd throw out there.
Yeah, I've had people slam the doors in my face with my kids, and I don't want to talk too much about some things, but I've been through it. Being and I drive my kids 2 towns over so that they can stay at a good school and all that. But they did not treat me good. I had a teacher slam the door in my face. Okay, because I had concerns about the way she was talking to my daughter. I got divorced, and she was asking personal stuff to my child. I'm like, you do not have personal conversations about my household with my kid. If you have any concerns
Yeah,
about my kid, you come to me.
it's true.
Slap the door in my face. I got my daughter right out of that. She's not in that school anymore because now she's in middle school. But I made sure she can move to a different class, and they moved her.
Yeah.
But anyway, we only got 6 more minutes. Is there anything else you want to say? Thank you, Jen, for telling us about the appropriate way to say. Hold on, the appropriate way to say not say daycare. Oh, people are coming. Um, but I can say this: I was very very discouraged today, but having our community, I feel very what is it called, lifted. It's just so great to have a community with people that just care about the world and society. We don't always have to agree, um, but we could definitely agree to disagree, and we can talk about it. That's such a beautiful gift,
Yeah.
right? Thank you. Yeah, I'll tell them one. My daughter, she's at the table. She wants me to tell the story about where they were doing a history, social studies project. And one year they did the Indians, and I remember, but then one year they studied about the Pilgrims, and they wanted all the kids to come as pilgrims from this elementary school. And it was during Thanksgiving. And I said, no, you don't. I told them that my daughter would not during pilgrims. Yeah, right? Pilgrims. So one year they did the Indians study, and then the next year they did the Pilgrim study. And I told them, no, my daughter, and during Thanksgiving, I said, no, she's not. I don't care what you're studying. My daughter will not. Oh, Catherine left. I guess I must have scared her away. I don't know. But I said she will not be a pilgrim. I don't care if you're studying, but she's going to be an Indian. And so I have a picture of her. She's the only Indian, and she's surrounded by all these pilgrims. And there's this little black boy in there. He's a colonial, right? It's a hilarious picture, but it's the most proudest picture I've ever had because my daughter has the biggest smile with her Indian feather.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah.
Told me in class that I could be an Indian, and after class he was like, okay, no Indians, or I was going to be dressed as a pilgrim.
Right, but it taught my daughter she knows why I made her do it, because I don't care if it's you learn about pilgrims. You can't have pilgrims and not have Indians during Thanksgiving.
That's true. You gotta have
Is it like Thanksgiving after?
Like they just wanted to have a kumbaya experience, even though, if you want to talk about it was like a bloodshed. And there was nothing great about the Trail of Tears.
Thanksgiving after the first Thanksgiving.
There was nothing great about that Thanksgiving at all.
It was the second.
No.
Just be realistic to the kids. And what it did was it showed the truth. They let her do it. They weren't going to fight that battle. They knew.
That's true.
My teacher was like, yeah, you can do it. Who cares?
Still watching on TikTok, had a glitch. Oh, that's what's up. It takes a village and it takes all of us. That's right, Jen. I just hope that just like you guys have been there for me today, I hope you guys can come here and vent anytime you want to. If you want to talk about anything that matters to you, you can come here. My platform is a place anyone can share their thoughts. I don't care what you believe in. And if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it.
Awesome. Let's
do you want to close us out on this one?
I'm just glad that I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to start following you. Some of the things that you say, sometimes I can't comment because when you work for the government, but
yeah.
I look at you and I see a strong woman of color. And you're just awesome, you just do. And your son Jordan, I also have a son named Jordan too.
Oh really? Oh my God, yeah. You never told me that.
Yeah. Jordan Bryan.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we got a Jordan Paul, and he's just living his best little life.
Yeah.
But I'm just so grateful. And you know what, Richmond, you helped me read. You really do. You really pushed me to read. So if you don't go anywhere, I'll try to read, but maybe I need to call them tonight. It's been a long day.
You may need to.
Yeah.
You've had a tough day, and you just some rest. You may need some, but it's just I enjoy white fragility. I've just enjoyed that.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
it's a good book. I don't know what the heck Ben Shapiro's talking about. That's why I'm gonna post this on my YouTube channel. I can't wait for him to find me.
And we're in chapter 10.
Oh, you are, by the way. Oh my God, Snapper Kid. I didn't know that. Why did you leave? Okay, go ahead.
We're in chapter 10, and it just gets each chapter gets more and more involving and more interesting, and it's like, okay, you see what she said, but this is probably what she meant, one of those type of things. It's a good book.
Some people are so offended by this book, but I can tell you right now, I feel like I went through it, and if I would have just realized, at the time when I felt like I was being discriminated against, but I should have been like, this is what she talks about. But I'm waiting for the mechanisms that we could use as African Americans, because she's talking to white people. She's not really talking. So I hope she gets a second book on how do we deal with it? How do we deal with white fragility?
Has she written anything else since that book? Has she written anything else since that book?
We're gonna find out. I'm gonna look it up, because we're gonna have to read.
Yeah, we gotta find out. Yeah, how it ends. What's the next book for her?
Exactly. Well, we're gonna read a lot. I'm gonna get off because it's about to shut us off.
Oh, awesome.
All right, Bruce. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. You take care.